Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be doing a live walkthrough of a numerical reasoning assessment. These are the kind of questions you can get during the degree apprenticeship application process. Companies like EY and Deloitte, they do this during their application process. So you can watch this video, see how I approach these numerical reasoning questions, and then that should help you with your numerical reasoning questions during the online assessments of your degree apprenticeship applications. Okay, so let's get into this one. Okay, so now before we start, it's giving me the instructions for the test. The first thing I'd do, if I was doing this test for real, is I'd actually look at the instructions. So it's really easy just to sort of ignore these instructions, go and do the test, but it's like these instructions are important. So some key things here in the instructions would be about this pie chart, can't be lower than 5%. Their overall bar value cannot be lowest than the lowest value. That might not make sense now, but that's kind of information which will be useful later on. So that's the kind of thing I just quickly note down. Can't be less than 5%, can't be lower than the lowest value. Now, here it says, try to work quickly but accurately, okay? This is very key because this tells us that with this numerical assessment, they are timing how long it takes. And this is going to be a similar story for a lot of degree apprenticeships. They are going to time how long it's taken you to answer these questions. So for example, let's say two people, they get every single question right. One of them takes 10 minutes per question, one of them takes 2 minutes per question. They're going to choose the person who does 2 minutes per question because they're faster. So if you can, try and be quick with these questions. However, caveat here, that is only if you can do them accurately, okay? Because there's no point working super quickly. Oh, I did this question in 10 seconds, I did it in 20 seconds, but you got it wrong. There's no point doing that because then you're going to get 0 marks. It's better to spend ages on a question. Oh, I spent like 10 whole minutes on a question. I spent like 5 whole minutes on a question, but at least you got it right, okay? So make sure you check your online assessment, the one you have to do, because some of them will be timed, some of them won't be timed, but I found in general a lot of them are timed. So just make sure, where possible, do them quickly, but what's more important is doing it accurately and getting the right answer. And don't spend too long on one question. So personally, if like I got really stuck with it and I couldn't get sort of a question after like 5 minutes or so, I wouldn't spend like 10-15 minutes on it. Sometimes there might be like a max limit you can spend on it. I wouldn't spend ages on it. At that point, I just sort of cut my losses, be like, okay, I've got this question wrong, let's just reset, let's just go focus on the next one. Okay. Another one is it says you will not have an opportunity to review questions at the end of this test. Okay, so that means, like in like your A levels, you do all the questions, then hopefully, like I'm hoping you do this, hoping you'll go back to the start and like check your answers, then go back to the start and check your answers the second time. If you don't do that, go and do that in your A level exams, right? But in this test, you're not going to be able to do that. So what that means is that tells you that when you submit your answer, it has to be right. So you have to make sure you check it when you submit it. So that's just something to bear in mind, and that'll be useful for going through. Now, before you jump into a numerical assessment, you want two things with you. You want, number one, a calculator, and number two, you want like a notebook and a paper, basically. One of my students messaged me like last week saying they did like a numerical assessment. They didn't have a calculator ready. So like the first 2 minutes of the numerical assessment, they had to like run around their house trying to get a calculator. Just make sure you've got that ready so you're ready to go. Okay, so those are all the instructions. There's a practice test here. If I was doing this test for real, I would 100% go and do those practice questions because you'll get used to the format. You'll get like sort of just practice at doing the question. Maybe they'll give you some tips, they'll give you some hints. So 100% do the practice questions. I'm not going to do them now because I've actually filmed a separate video where I just went through those practice questions. So I'm going to go straight into the assessment, okay? So what I'll do is I'll use this whiteboard here as my paper because obviously in the real thing I'd write it down on my notebook. I'll be a bit slower because I'm writing it down on the whiteboard here. So I'm like having to draw with my mouse, which is like the hardest thing ever invented, right? And then let's do this. And I'll just walk through how I do it. And then if you're struggling with any of these questions, this can sort of help you how you can approach these sorts of tests. Okay, take assessment. Let's go. Okay. So these sort of questions, this is the sort of question they can do. This is where you need to draw a diagram, okay? I think it's called a Caroline diagram. Or I'll be honest, I could have literally just made that up. Just in my mind, something's telling me it's called a Caroline diagram. Basically, there's two different variables they're asking you about here. Okay, so the first one is sales and consulting. There are two different things. So you're going to put sales here, consulting here, and then total here. Okay, then the other thing they're asking you in between each of these is full and partial. So full, partial, and total. And what you need to do is forget this graph down here at the bottom. You just need to fill out this table. You can look at a question like this and get and sort of like try and go through the information one by one and then look at this and you get really confused. So what you need to do is just transfer all the data to a table like this and then go do the graph afterwards. So just try and see how much you can fill in on this graph right here. So everyone in sales received some type of bonus. Okay, fair enough. 220 people in sales received full bonuses. Okay, 220 people in sales received full bonuses. We know that's going to be 220 right there. Okay. 20% of the people in sales received partial bonuses. Okay, so that means we know this one here is 20%. 20% of the people in sales received partial bonuses. This one is 80% here. Okay, so what we can do is, if this is 80%, we can extrapolate this up to 100%. So the way we would do that, it would be 220, let's put this in your calculator, 220 divided by 0.8, and that will take you to 275 up here. So 275 is 100%. And then to get down to this 20%, if you do 275 times 0.2, you'll get 55, or you could just minus them. You can clearly see that that's going to be 55. Okay, boom. So that's all our numbers sorted for now. The total number of bonuses given in consulting was 64% of the total number of bonuses given in sales. Okay, so you'll look at the total in sales, and if you do 64% of that, it'll give you the total number of bonuses in consulting. So you do 275 times 0.64, boom, 176. There we go. Okay, so we're nicely filling out this table. In consulting, the ratio of partial to full bonuses was 1 to 3. Okay, so the ratio of partial to full, so it's 1 part partial and 3 parts full. Okay, so it's 3 parts here, 1 part here. Add them together, that's 4 parts. So we know each part is going to be worth 176 divided by 4. 176 divided by 4 equals 44. So we know that 1 part is worth 44. So then you extrapolate up, 44 there, and then you times it by 3 because it's 3 parts. So 44, that will be, what, 132, I want to guess? Let me check that. Yes, 132. And then you can do a quick double check, okay? 132 plus 44 is 176. Yep, we're right there. And then you can just add these up just to fill up the table here. So this will be 352. This will be 99. So this will end up being, if I add this total here, that will be 451. Now you want to check that these both add up to make sure your numbers are right. If you've got like an error here with calculating, like these two don't add up, these two don't add up, you know you've done something wrong, so you want to go back and check. So this is why it's sort of assurance quality checks just to make sure you've done everything right. So 275 plus 176 is 300, 440, 451. Yep, we're right. Okay, so now we've got all our numbers. We can now focus on the question. So the total number of bonuses in sales was 275. And now it's like really easy to just fill this up. So if I select the bar, what do you mean? 7. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, for some reason this test is like bugging out or something. It's not letting me. I want to move this 100 to 275. And it doesn't want to let me do it. Okay, the test isn't going to work. Fair enough. If it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to work. But essentially here, I would then move that sales one up to 275, move the consulting one up to 176, which, yeah, it wants to go 100 or 400, which, okay, fair enough, whatever. And then you look at the percentages. And this is where you don't want to just put in 220 and 55, because that's not possible. It's asking for percentages. So you then do the percentage of this. Okay, so you do 220 over 275, 220 over 275, times 100 is 80%, 20%. I mean, we've already done that there, actually. And then you can do it with this one. 132 divided by 176 times 100. And we've already done it there, to be fair. You can already see you don't even have to do that calculation because you can see there it's 75% because of the 3 parts and 25% because of the 1 part. So essentially that's what you got there. You'd put that totals in, you'd put those percentages in there, and there you go. Okay, so I can't seem to fill it in here, so I'll just continue with it, but I'm guessing I've probably got that question right. I hope so anyway, otherwise it's like, oh, and why are you teaching us this if we can't do maths? New t-shirt as well. So, in February, a cell phone company has a coverage of 250 square miles per month. Okay, so in February it has 5,000. It goes up by 250 square miles per month. So, 5,250, 5,500, there. Super easy, right? Sometimes I can give you some questions which seem really difficult, but they're actually really easy. It's because they're trying to catch you out and like make you overthink. So this, because it's so easy, I would just quickly double check the question just to make sure I haven't missed anything. In February, a cell phone company has a coverage area of 5,000 square miles. It plans to expand its coverage area by 250 square miles per month. Ooh, interesting. So that should be 5,250. So that's graph the coverage in 1,000. Oh, 5.25. Yep. Okay, so that's it. It's as simple as that. I just wanted to double check in case I've missed something from the question, but that looked pretty easy to me there. Okay, so a group of 20 employees. Okay, boom. So this is where, again, if you just look at these on your own, it's not going to help. You want to make this into a data table, okay? So we've got food, decorations, marketing and venue, and then in total, okay? Just formalize it into a table so that rather than just looking at it and trying to work out random things, you can do it. So start off. You have to look for an absolute value, okay? If it's one more, one fewer, 2 times, same number, that doesn't tell us anything. We have to start off with an absolute value. What is a solid number? It's given us a venue, which is 5. Okay, so venue is 5. And then also I forgot to add this one, 20 in total. Okay, boom, 20 and 5. Okay, then we look for another one, which now we have value. Venue, sorry. Let's see which other one has venue. Food says they have one more than venue, so food, one more than venue, that's 6. Boom. That is the worst 6 ever, 6. Right. Decorations has the same number as venue. Boom. Decorations has the same number as venue, 5. And then it says here, marketing has 1 fewer than food. Marketing has 1 fewer than food, which is 5. Now that doesn't add up. Okay, it doesn't add up. So I've made a mistake there because that obviously doesn't add up. So let me just check what I've done here. Venue has 5 volunteers. Yep, I'm happy with that. Food has 1 more than venue. Food has 1 more than venue. Yes, 6. Decorations has the same as venue, so decorations has 5. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then marketing has 1 fewer than food. So 1 fewer than food. I'll be honest, I think their question's wrong. Because that doesn't make sense. Venue has 5. That's 100%, right? Decorations has the same number as venue. So decorations has to be 5. That's 100%. Food has 1 more than venue. Okay. So food has 1 more than 5 is 6. I'm not bugging. And then marketing has 1 fewer than food. 1 fewer than food than 5. Yeah, so their question is wrong, essentially, because this is adding up to 21 and doesn't make sense. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what to tell you there. Your question's wrong. So we'll move on to the next one. Hopefully in your real degree apprenticeship application, they shouldn't have wrong questions, but obviously whoever made this test doesn't really know what they're doing. Let's just be honest there. Right, so same thing applies. We've got different things here to do with pie charts. We've got wooden, metal, stone, and plastic. And then we come to total. Okay, this is how you do it. So a manufacturer produced 100,000 picture frames. So 100,000 is the total. Okay, and then we'll go through, look for an absolute value. Okay, can we find an absolute value? No. Okay, this is going to be an algebra sort of thing. So, okay. So the number of stone equals the number of plastic. Okay. So what we're going to do is, the number of plastic is P, the number of stone is P. Okay. 11 times more wooden frames were produced than plastic. So wood is 11 times more than P. So we can do this as 11P. Okay. And metal frames is 7 times more than plastic. So we can say metal is 7P. So that's essentially like how the parts are going to work. Okay. So we can add these all up to see how many different like P's, how many different parts we have. We have 18, 19, 20. So we have 20 parts essentially going into 100,000. So if we do 100,000 divided by 20, that is what, like 5,000, I want to say. Yeah, 5,000. So then we can just split it like that, okay? And then you'll do that. However, you don't even have to go that far because it's not asking for absolute values, it's asking for percentages. So straight away, all we need to do here is 11 over 20 times 100, right? 7 over 20 times 100, right? 1 over 20 times 100, and you're getting all these percentages here. So this, let me go into a different color so it's clearer. This is going to be 5%. This is going to be 5%. This one, 7, is going to be 35%. This one here is going to be 55%. Let me just check that adds up. 55% plus 35% is 60, is 90, 95, 100. Yep, that all adds up. So that's what it is. So wood, which is wood is blue. So that's going to be 55%. So I'll move that down to 55. Let me just move this one along. 55, 3, 4, 5. And then red is stone. Stone is going to be 5%. So let me move that to 5%. Then what's the next one? Orange, which is plastic, which is also going to be 5%. So let me move this down to 5%. And that should be 35. Let me check. Yep, 35. Yep, we've checked it. Yep, I'm happy. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Okay, so that's, sometimes it can be, this is technically algebra, but it's very, 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 very basic algebra. Okay, it's just splitting it into parts. It's like you might have done these questions back in the day. 2 parts orange juice, 1 part water or something, like ratio sort of things. Very basic. You can work it out like that. Let's go on to the next question. Okay. Yep, so again, this is the exact same question as before, same format. It's where we have to create this table because there's 2 different variables that are going against each other. Okay, so just remember, a lot of the question formats will be very similar here. So it's very messy, but we'll roll with it. So year 1, year 2, that's the first variable. Year 1, year 2, and then total. And then deductible, premium, and total. Okay, so let's just go through this information. Okay, so year 1, total cost is 1,500. Year 1 total cost, let me do it in a different pen just so it's a bit clearer. Year 1 total cost is 1,500. Okay, 5. Right, and then the deductible is 300. And then the premium, therefore, because these must all add up, 300 plus 1,200 is 1,500, so that must be 1,200 there. Let's look at the next one. Year 2, totaling cost increases by 20%. The way you do that is you times by 1.2. That's what increasing by 20% means. So you do 1,500 times 1.2, which is going to equal it'll basically equal 1,800 essentially. So that's what that'll be there. Cool. And then premium increases by 20%. So the premium increases by 20%. So 20%, again, you just times this by 1.2. That will end up equaling 1,440. Okay. And then that means we can work out this one because we just minus it. So that'll be 60. That'll be 360, I believe. I'll just double check that. 60, 50, 50, 1,080. Yep. Okay. Then here's what you do now. You've got all the information, but you just want to check to make sure you've made a mistake. So you could go and answer the rest of the question now, but I would just recommend checking just to make sure it's all right. So what you do there is you just add everything up. 660 plus 2,640. Now you want to add these two different things up. They should equal the same amount, but you just want to check. So this is equaling to 3,300. Now let me just check these. These two are adding to 2,700. 3,300. Boom, they both add up correctly. That means I'm pretty sure I've got these calculations correct. Now we've got this table fully filled out, let's come to here and answer this question. So year 1 is going to be 1,500 total. Boom, got that there. And year 2 is going to be 1,800 total. So let's move up this. Oh, hold on. Telling me it doesn't want to work for me again. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like the same thing has happened before where this question doesn't want to work. Really, I would. I'm probably not even going to put the link in the description to this test because it's not even a good test because it just doesn't want to work. But essentially, what you do is 1,500, you do 1,800 for the other one, and then in terms of these, again, you need to work out the percentages. So you do 300 over 1,500 times 100, and that would be I don't know, like 20%. It looks like off the top of my head, and that looks like it would be roughly 80%, I think. And then you'd go and put that in the thing, so 1,500, and then you'd put like year 1 deductible is 20%, so you'd come down and you just spam this button for ages. You'd do that, and then this one you do the same thing, 360 over 1,800 times 100, work out what the percentage is, come and put it in, but let me just check one more time. Nope, it doesn't want to work for me. Okay, it doesn't want to let me do 1,800. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the next question then. But that's how you do it essentially. Okay. Okay, total revenue per week. I'm just noticing I've got 5 minutes and 4 questions left to go because I'm talking about these. Like I'd probably do these quicker in the real thing, but yeah, we'll just see how many I can get done. Okay, so the total sales per week is. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so first things first, I'd work out the total sales per week. Okay, so the sales per week is the sales per week minus the cancellations per week. These are average cancellations per day, so 2 cancellations per day, times it by 5, there's 10 cancellations, 20 minus 10. This guy has 10 sales per week, okay, 10 total sales per week. Now, in terms of revenue, he's got 390, so do 390 divided by 10. He gets on average £39 per £39 per transaction, so there's going to be no commission from here based on that laws there. Okay, all right, this one, he has 15 sales, 1 cancellation per day. 1 times 5 is 5, so he gets 5 cancellations per week, because you have to do that conversion between per day and per week. 15 minus 5 is 10, so he gets 10 sales per week. So if he gets £670 out of 10 sales, that means 670 divided by 10, he's on £67 per sale. Okay, so there's 5% commission for him there, because 67 is between 41 and 100, so he gets 5%. Question number C, 4 times 5, so he gets 20, so he's on 11 sales per week. 1,440 divided by 11 is £130, so he's getting £130 average sale, which means he gets 10% commission there. Person D, 5 cancellations per day, so that means 5 times 5, 25, he does 30 sales per week. 1,120 divided by 30 is £37, so he gets no commission there at all. Okay, so that's how I do this. You just have to read the text, understand it, and then once you understand it, this is actually a super easy question. But like, the hard part of this is just understanding what it's asking. When you understand what it's asking, that bit of it is easy. £75,000 in total sales achieved across 3 months, and the average sales revenue is 50% above target. Is 50% above target. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so basically you need to add up these, make sure they're 75,000, 47 plus 38. I can already see straight away that's above 75,000. I don't even have to read it. And then the average sales revenue achieved in the quarter is 50% above target. So the target is 20 plus 15 plus 35, which is 70. So 50% above that will be a 105, and that, let me just check, 47 plus 38 plus 23. 108. So this was 108 and this is 105, so we're above it, so this person has met their targets. Boom. Oh, hold on. Person B. Is it all the same targets? Okay, so the target is always 105 that they have to meet, so we just have to check that they've done 105. We can ignore the 75 because that's just less than 105. Either way, they have to meet 105. So 34 plus 22 plus 19 is 75, so they have not met their targets. This one, 23 plus 15 plus 36, 74, they've not met the target. This person, 34.5 plus 21.5 plus 48.5. They've got 104.5. So they've achieved this first one. They've done at least 75,000, but they haven't achieved the second one, which needs to be 105. So they've only got 104. Therefore, because they haven't done both, it says and they've not met the target there. So these sort of questions, very easy once you understand it, but you just have to understand what it's asking first. And basically all this question was asking was, do they earn at least 105,000 euros? Okay, let's do exchange rates. Okay, this is interesting. US dollars to each currency. So the way you would do this is you basically have to work out $1 is how many pounds. So if $45 equals 36 pounds, well then to get $1, is that how they want to do this? Graph the exchange rate. No, they want to do it the other way. Okay, they want to do one of these to an exchange rate. So £1 equals this. So how did we get here? We divided by 36. Therefore, here we have to divide by 36. So you do 45 divided by 36, which is 1.25. So we know that it's $1.25. Okay, so $1.25 like that. And then you do that for all of these. So for example, you would do 270 divided by 243, and that's going to give us 1.1. Here you would do 58 divided by 75.4, which is going to give us 0.75. And then this one you do 536.9 divided by 413. No, you do it the other way around. 413 divided by 536.9. 0.77. So yes, I'd round it to that one. Is that right? Yeah, that looks right. And then I just quickly check. The ones above the 0, above 1, are when the US is bigger, and the one below it is when the US is smaller. Yep, I'm happy with that, so that's what I'd go. It's just simple ratios, that one, and dividing by it. 2 questions. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to run out of time in this test, so I'm going to quickly screenshot this so I can continue doing it afterwards, if it wants to let me screenshot. Okay, I've screenshot it now, so I'll come back to this question in a moment. So I'll just drag some random numbers here, just so I can have a go at the final one. Come on. So I just want to give you guys an overview of all these different ones here. Boom. So let me come here. Can I paste that screenshot? Let me paste it. Paste. Come on. Yep, there we go. Cool. Let's move on to... Is this a different question? Yep, this is a different question. Let me do another screenshot. Boom. And then I'm on to this one here. Okay. So obviously, because I'm running out of time now, because I've spent ages talking to you guys about each question, in the real thing, I'd obviously have gone much quicker than we have now. So, yep, let's ignore that for a second. So coming in, that's all the questions. Yeah, let's go. Let's have a go at answering these questions then. Boom. Right, so the way, there's two of me now, congratulations. So the way I'd answer this is, again, you have to focus on the absolutes first. Okay, so if it would be better if I did this, and then I do this, and then we come across like here. Boom, perfect. So, red. Right, so you basically need to list these names. You need to work out who spent the most. Okay, so we have Ian, Jasmine, Lindy, Liddle, I don't know, Kay, Ken, Manpreet, and Nick. Okay, so focus on the absolutes. Jasmine spent 3,000. Okay, so that's like an absolute value. You can't start with one which is saying, oh, this guy spent more or as much as, because you don't have anything there. So then now we're going to look to see if anyone there has what Jasmine has done. Okay, if it like mentions Jasmine, because Jasmine is what we know. So Lindy, she mentions Jasmine. Okay, so let's look at Lindy here. Let me zoom in a bit just so it helps. So Lindy spent 75% more than Jasmine plus an additional 750. So the calculation we would do here is 3,000, which is what Jasmine did, times 1.75, that's how you do 75% more, plus 750. And that's going to give us 6,000 on Lindy over here. Okay, boom. Thank you, Lindy. Now that we know both of those, we can go and have a look and see who mentioned anything to do with Jasmine and Lindy. So, for example, if we were to come to this one here with Lindy, it wouldn't help us because we still don't know Nick. It's like if we come to this Jasmine one here, we know Jasmine, but we don't know Manpreet, so it doesn't really help us. So we want to go to one which just has Jasmine or Lindy, and that's actually this one here. So let's have a look at Nick. Nick spent half of what Lindy spent plus 400, so that's 6,000 divided by 2, which is 3,000, plus 400 is 3,400. I don't know why I needed a calculator for that, but we'll go with it. And that's that one. Boom. Okay. So you just got to go through this systematically. It's really systematic. Okay. These are the ones you know. So now you just look for ones which only have Jasmine, Lindy, and Nick. If there's anyone else, just ignore it for now. We don't know. So that one, that was Ian. We don't know who he is. Jasmine and Manpreet, we don't know Manpreet. Okay, so it must be this one. Ian spent as much as Lindy and Nick combined. Oh, guess what? We know Lindy and Nick. So Lindy plus Nick. So Ian is going to be 9,400. Boom. Let's do that there. Nice one. Thank you, Ian. Okay. Manpreet spent a third of what Ian spent. Okay. Manpreet spent a third of Ian. So 9,400 divided by 3 is 3,133. Okay. And then that's that. And then Ken. I'll get to Ken in a second, but just a little tip for you as well. Sometimes you're going to get to this situation where there's no actual information about Ken. And then you're thinking, okay, how do I work out Ken? Well, that's where you need to remember there's a total involved. So that could be, the total is 26,066. And if there was no other information about Ken, you could still work Ken out, because you just do 26,000 minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this. What's left over must be Ken. So that's just another thing to have in your locker in case you need it. Use that total and minus everything from the total, because it has to equal that total. So Ken spent what Jasmine, but we don't need to do that in this case because it's got the information. So Ken spent what Jasmine and Manpreet spent combined. So Jasmine 3,000 plus Manpreet. This must be, I must have made, wait, hang on. Oh, I've done an extra 3 there. That's what it was. Confused me for a second. Right, so Jasmine plus Manpreet 3,003. So that's Jasmine plus Manpreet 6,133. Boom. Okay, so now we've got everyone. Just before we go on to doing this, you want to check that everything adds up, okay? Because you may have made a mistake in this calculation, so you just want to check. So what I do is I'd add up all these numbers, make sure it reaches that. 9,400 3000 plus 6000 plus 6133 plus 3133 plus 3400. I've got a number of 31,066. Perfect. That's good that that's happened, because that shows that I've obviously made a mistake somewhere. Okay, because I've got 31,000, I've got an extra 5,000 somewhere that I've somehow come up with. Okay, so let me just go through and I'm going to double check every single one, because you made a mistake. So yeah, I made a mistake. Let's work it out. So this is good at simulating what happens when you do this and you've made a calculation error somewhere. So Jasmine spent 3,000, Jasmine 3,000, right? I'm definitely happy with that one. Okay, just make sure you go and done the calculation, right? Lendi spent 75% more than Jasmine plus 750. So 3,000 plus 3,000 times 1.75 plus 750 is 6,000. So Lindy was 6,000. Yep, that's what I've written. 6,000. I'm definitely happy with that. Okay. Nick spent half of Lindy plus 400. So Nick spent half of 6,000, 3,000 plus 400, 3,400. That's Nick. Boom. I'll tick that. I'm happy with that. Okay. Ian spent as much as Lindy and Nick combined. So Lindy and Nick did 9,400. So Ian spent as much as Lindy and Nick, 9,400. Boom. Okay, then, so that's that one. I'm happy that I've done that one correctly. Manpreet spent a third of what Ian spent. So Manpreet, so Ian 9,400. 9,400 divided by 3. 3,133. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's correct. And then Ken spent what Jasmine and Manpreet spent combined. So 3,000 plus this is 6. So Jasmine, hold on. Ken spent what Jasmine and Margaret and Manpreet, Margaret, spent combined. So 3,000, so 6,000. So that's correct. Okay. So let me do this calculation one more time just to check I haven't missed anything. 9,400 plus 3,000 plus 6,000 plus 6,133 plus 3,133 plus 3,400. Yep, and I've got the same number again, 31,066. So in this case, what I've concluded is, whoever made this test, guess what? They've done another question wrong. Like, I'm 100% not putting this link in the description to this because these questions are just, they're incorrect. Unless I've like missed something really obvious. I really don't think I have, but if I have, just put it in the comments below and just show everyone how clever you are at maths. But this question, they've just done it wrong, so there's nothing more to say. What you then do is, like, you check it. This would obviously, if it was a proper question, whoever made it was actually good at their job, then it would say 33,066 or whatever, and then you just go through and you'd rank it. So it would obviously be like Ian would be 6, and make sure you want to check that. You don't want to accidentally do it the wrong order. So I'd double check it, I'd triple check it. 1 is least spent, 6 is most spent. So I'd come in and I'd be like, so the least spent is going to be Manpreet, so I'll put the 1 next to Manpreet. No, see, and that's where you can make it super easy to miss one. So this is why you're double, triple checking. So the lowest was Jasmine, then it was Manpreet, then what's her name, Nick, then Linda, then Karen, and then it was Ian. Okay, and then I double check that a couple of times, just make sure you've done it, and then there you go. So shame the question didn't work again, but that's how you do it. So now that we've done this question, I want you to give this question a go. Okay, so use the exact same strategy that I've used on this one and see if you can get this question right. And maybe, to be honest, the answer's wrong again, because like the people who did this, obviously, I don't know, they didn't do their A-levels or GCSEs or something. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just stupid, like, you know what I mean? It could be any of the above. But give a go this question and let's see what you got, and then I'll walk you through. Okay, so now that you've done this question, which I hope you have actually done and you haven't just not done it, let's go through and answer these questions. So again, just write down the people, get all the information, and then we'll worry about ordering them. So Mike, Naomi, Oscar, Patsy, Quentin Tarantino, and Rachel. And then we'll do total at the end. Okay, so again, you're looking first of all for absolutes. Okay, because if you say, oh, Oscar laid half the bricks that Quentin laid, you can't start with that. That's no information. You need to look for some absolutes. So Naomi laid 175 bricks. Nice one, Naomi. 175. Thank you. Okay, now we've got to look for one which only mentions Naomi. Okay, and we can see Quentin, this one mentions Naomi. So Quentin laid 60% more bricks than Naomi. So the way you do this is you do Naomi 175 times 1.6. That's how you do 60% more. 175 times 1.6 gives us 280. So Quentin Tarantino did 280. Thank you. Now you've got to look for ones that only have Quentin and Naomi mentioned. Oh, this one did. So Oscar laid half the bricks that Quentin laid. So Oscar, half of 280 is 140. Thank you for that. Now, again, you guessed it. We've got to look for ones which only mention Naomi, Oscar, and Quentin. Okay? So Patsy only mentions Quentin. Patsy laid double the bricks that Quentin laid, so we know that that is going to be 560 there. Okay, again, these are the four we're looking at. Rachel laid 75% less than Oscar, so 75% less means 25%, like 25% of it. So what you do here is you would do Oscar 140 times 0.25, and that'll be 75% less. So Rachel did 35, kind of slacking there if I'm being honest. And then Mike did a quarter of Patsy's plus an additional 70. So Mike did Patsy's 560 times 0.25, so 25%, 560 times 0.25 plus 70. So that gets to 210. Now, guess what? Same as the last question, we're going to do the same thing. We've got all our answers now. So in theory, we could just go and answer the question, but you just want to check, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to add up all of these ones here, okay? So 210 plus 175 plus 140 plus 560 plus 280 plus 35. So I got my answer as 1,400 once I added these all up. Boom. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, guess what? They've said 1,400. Okay, boom. So their question is right. So now we know that we've done this calculation right. Nice. And by the way, yeah, so as I said, this test isn't very good. All their questions are wrong. In the real thing, I would just like assume with 100% certainty that their question is correct. Like if you ended up in this situation, it's like you are probably wrong. This isn't going to happen in the real thing, I wouldn't imagine, unless they have a very, very bad test, right? So 1,400. So say, for example, if I were to get, like, in this calculation, I got 1,540, I wouldn't just start being like, oh, the test is wrong, I got it right. It's like, no, you're probably wrong, right? So 1,400, perfect, we're correct. And then you just go and rank them. Again, make sure, like, 1 to 6, which order is it, okay? So least laid is going to be, R. Then it's going to be 140, 170, 210, 150, 560. Okay, and there you go. That's how you would do that question. So that was just a walkthrough of some numerical assessment questions. So I hope that was useful and gave you a insight to the sort of questions they can ask. Quite commonly, it's things like pie charts, bar charts, graphs, percentages, a lot of simple calculations like timesing, adding, minusing, dividing, ratios occasionally, that sort of thing. It's not going to be anything crazy complex like logarithms or like trigonometry or geometry. It's not that. It's the kind of maths you're likely to have to do in the workplace. So just adding stuff up, dealing with percentages, doing like an average or something, dealing with a graph, a pie chart. Okay, so I hope that's given you an insight to some of the questions which you might be asked. And I hope as well, if you were struggling with these sorts of questions, you're not really good at them, you've sort of seen my technique. Some of these techniques, like for example, writing this all out, it's going to make it a lot easier. Look for the absolutes, then just look for the ones which basically can add until you got them all. And things like this table, if you've never seen like a table before, I do believe it is called like a Caroline diagram or something. Could be wrong though. That's an easy way to get all that information into a table, and it's nice and organized like that. Okay, so hope this video has helped. I'm doing a couple of videos like this, which is kind of just a different style to my sort of normal presentations. I'm just doing some walkthrough just so you can see live how I do these questions. If you do enjoy these types of videos, feel free to leave a like down below, and then I can just go and do more of these. Okay, so I hope you've got value from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. I just checked my results. They just like sent me like an automatic email with like the results, and they marked it and said I've got like a D grade. And I'm like, bro, it's because your test didn't even work. So yeah, it is what it is, man. Their test wasn't great, but yeah, as I said, hopefully this video you got value from it. And if you do want me to do more walkthroughs that sort of go through the assessment center, the application process, psychometric testing, whatever it is, just let me know and I can sort of do these live walkthroughs if you guys find this video valuable. So yeah, just leave a like and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Bang.